It was pouring rain, and a 7-year-old girl ran barefoot through the dark, tears streaming down her face, clutching her teddy bear tightly to her chest. She tripped, fell hard, and her knees hit the cold marble floor. They beat up my mom. Please, someone help. A shadow moved in the dim fluorescent light. A middle-aged man in a janitor's uniform knelt beside her. His chapped hands, gentle yet firm, supported her trembling shoulders. He placed the mop against the wall. His voice was calm, almost too calm. Where is she? No one knew that this quiet janitor had once been a top-notch tactical operative, and tonight, that past was about to return. Jack Turner was 38, a single father, and a night janitor at Lane Tech. Every night at 9, he showed up to work, mopped the floors, took out the trash, and wiped the glass doors as executives walked through, ignoring him. He wore the same navy blue uniform, carried the same yellow mop, and kept his head down. No one asked about his past, no one cared, and that was exactly how Jack wanted it. 5 years ago, he was someone. Everything is different, an elite tactical operative with the Special Forces Unit -9, the soldier the government sent when hostage rescues were needed and failure was unacceptable. Manila, Caracas, Istanbul. Jack had pulled diplomats from burning buildings and CEOs from cartel strongholds, and then came the mission that ended it all. He had saved the wrong hostage, a journalist the government wanted to silence. Jack followed orders to save lives, but those orders were lies. When the truth came out, he was buried with paperwork and a dishonorable discharge. No pension, no recognition, only a dog tag on a chain he kept hidden under his shirt, engraved with 4 words, "Leave no one behind." Now Jack had one mission, his daughter, Ella, 9, with bright eyes and a big heart. Every morning at 6 o'clock, she waited by the window of their small apartment, watching for his truck to pull up. She never asked why Daddy was mopping floors instead of saving the world. She simply hugged him tightly and said, "I missed you." That was enough. Lane Tech is a 15-story glass tower in the business district, sleek, modern, cool. Most employees left by 7 o'clock. Executives stayed later, their offices glowing like fireflies against the night sky. On the top floor lived Clara Lane, a 33-year-old CEO and single mother. She was brilliant, tough, fair, respected by her employees, and feared by her competitors. But behind closed doors, Clara was fighting a different battle. Her ex-husband, Richard Moore, wanted control of Lantec. He wanted the company, he wanted power, and he was willing to do anything to get it. Clara had filed for divorce 6 months ago. The courts moved too slowly, so she did something unusual. She moved into the penthouse with her 7-year-old daughter, Lily. The building had security cameras and guards. She thought they would be safe there. She was wrong. Jack finished mopping the lobby floor. It was 11:30. Rain pounded the windows. The building was silent, broken only by the hum of the ventilation system and the squeak of its wheel. He pushed the cart toward the elevator, preparing to go up to the second floor. Then he heard footsteps, fast, desperate. A child's voice, choked with tears. "Help! Someone, please!" Jack turned around. A little girl, barefoot and soaking wet, ran out of the stairwell. Her pink pajamas clung to her shivering body. She clutched a brown teddy bear, its fur matted with rain. She saw Jack, and he ran straight to him. "They beat my mother," her voice wavered. "Please, you have to help her." Jack knelt down, his gaze level, calm. In the same voice he once used condescendingly, "Armed gunman. What's your name?" "Lily." "Lily, I need you to breathe. Can you do that for me?" She nodded, inhaling greedily. "Okay, now tell me where your mother is." "Upstairs, in the big apartment. 3 men came. They beat her. She told me to run." Jack's jaw clenched. His hand instinctively reached for the badge under his shirt. "Stay here." He stood, pulled out his phone, dialed 911, then looked at the elevator, at the stairwell, at the little girl trembling before him. He had made his choice. Jack grabbed a flashlight and checked the door to the stairwell. "Lily, everything will be fine, I promise." Earlier that day, the break room had been full of laughter. Security guards on their lunch break, administrative staff getting coffee. Jack entered to replenish the cleaning supplies. 2 20-something security guards smirked as they passed. "Hey, mop guy, you missed the spot by the restroom," laughed the other. "Yeah, Turner, that's what you're there for, cleaning up after us," Jack said. He said nothing, filled the bottle at the sink, capped it, and turned to leave. What? No. Come back. Come on, janitor, don't be so sensitive. Jack paused at the door and looked back. His voice was quiet, almost gentle. Clean floors, clear conscience. He left. The guards laughed even louder. They had no idea who they were making fun of. It was 11:45. Jack climbed the stairs 15 floors. His breathing was even, his mind sharper than it had been in years. Muscle memory kicked in. Scan corners, listen for movements, control his breathing. He reached the penthouse. The door was ajar. Splinters were visible around the lock. He forced the door. Jack pushed it. The hallway slowly plunged into darkness, broken only by the flickering overhead light. Expensive paintings hung on the walls. The floor was marble. And then he heard her voice. Feminine, tense, defiant. I will never sign this. You can beat me all you want. This company is not yours. The male voice said coldly and angrily. Then we will make you. Richard says hello. Jack moved silently down the hallway. A living room came into view. 3 men in black suits. One was holding a briefcase. The other grabbed a woman by the arm. Clara Lane. Her lip was bleeding. Her blouse was torn at the shoulder, but her eyes were blazing with fury. The third man held a stack of papers. Sign the transfer papers, Ms. Lane. This can't get any worse. Go to hell. He punched her in the face. She fell to the floor. Jack walked into the room. Let her go. All 3 men turned. The one with the briefcase laughed. Who the hell are you? Jack glanced at his uniform. The Lane Tech logo was sewn onto the chest, the mop company patch on the sleeve. I'm a janitor, the man sneered. Then stay out of this, janitor. Get back to your mop. That's business. Clara looked up. Blood dripped from her chin. Her gaze met Jack's. She didn't know him, not really. She'd seen him briefly, maybe twice. Just another employee. But something about his face made her catch her breath. Jack put the flashlight down on the bedside table, rolled his shoulders, and cracked his knuckles. I was a janitor. He stepped forward. But 5 seconds ago, the man with the papers dropped them. He pulled a knife from his belt. Big mistake, man. Jack didn't blink. The man lunged forward. What happened next took 3 seconds. Jack stepped aside, grabbed the man's wrist, and in mid-thrust, twisted it back with surgical precision. The knife clattered to the floor. The man screamed. Jack cut him off. The man slammed into the coffee table. The glass shattered. He didn't get up. A second man, larger but faster, lunged at Jack from the side. Jack dodged, slamming his elbow into the man's ribs. Once, twice. The air rushed from his lungs in a wet gasp. Jack grabbed him by the collar, used the momentum, and threw him face first into the wall. He collapsed. The third man, the one holding Clara, pulled out a gun. Don't move. Jack froze, his arms hanging at his sides. Clara lay on the floor behind the couch, her eyes wide. The man's hand was shaking. I'll shoot. I swear. I will. Jack's voice was calm, too calm. You won't. What? You're left-handed, but you're holding a gun in your right hand? That means you're untrained. You're afraid, and afraid people miss. The man's finger trembled on the trigger. Jack took a step forward. Stop. One more step. I'm warning you. Jack moved with lightning speed, closed the distance, and tossed the gun aside. A shot rang out. The bullet hit the ceiling. He grabbed the man by the throat, lifted him from the floor, and threw him onto the dining room table. The man gasped for air. Jack leaned closer and whispered, Tell Richard, if he approaches her again, he'll need a priest, not lawyers. He released him. The man rolled off the table and ran for the door. The other 2 crawled after him. They were gone in seconds. Jack stood in the middle of the room, breathing heavily, his fists bruised. Clara stood up and stared at him. Who? Who are you? Before he could answer, footsteps sounded in the hallway. Police guns were drawn, hands raised. Jack slowly raised his hand. The officer in charge took in the scene. Broken furniture, blood, the janitor standing over it all. He pointed the gun at Jack's chest, lying face down on the floor. Jack dropped to his knees. Then the officer saw the tattoo on Jack's forearm, partially hidden by his sleeve. A skull, wings, the letters S, R, U, a -9. The officer's face went pale. Wait, are you Turner from the Special Rescue Unit? He asked. -9. The whole room went silent. Clara's voice was barely audible. What? The officer slowly lowered the gun. His hands were shaking. Captain Reynolds, 3rd Precinct. I served under Colonel Hayes on the Boulder extraction mission. You saved my unit. Jack remained kneeling, his hands still raised. That was a long time ago, Captain. Not me. Reynolds holstered his pistol. He motioned for his team to lower their weapons. Stand up, sir. Jack Rose dusted himself off. He rose from his knees, the other officers looking at him with confusion and uncertainty. One of them, a rookie, whispered to his partner, "Who is this guy?" Reynolds turned to Clara. "Ma'am, are you hurt? Do you require medical attention?" Clara was still looking at Jack, her mind racing, trying to understand what she had just seen. I'm fine." Those men burst in. "They tried to force me to sign papers." He pointed at Jack. He stopped them. Reynolds nodded and pulled out his radio. "We need an ambulance at the penthouse level in Lantix Plaza for non-critical injuries. We're also searching for 3 men for assault and burglary." He turned to Jack Turner. "I need your statement later." Jack looked at Clara. "Where is your daughter?" Clara's face went pale. "Lily. Oh my God, Lily. She's downstairs. She's safe. I told her to wait in the lobby." Clara ran without waiting for permission, without stopping. Jack followed her. They boarded the elevator. The descent seemed like an eternity. Clara's hands were shaking. "Lily ran up to you, a stranger. Fear doesn't care about strangers, it just needs help." The elevator doors opened. Lily was sitting at the security desk. A female officer wrapped the little girl in a blanket. The little girl clutched her teddy bear tightly. Her eyes were red from crying. Clara's mother ran over, scooped her daughter up, and hugged her so tightly it hurt. "I'm so sorry, baby, I'm so sorry. That bad man hit you. I know, but I'm okay. You were so brave. You did everything I told you to." Lily looked over her mother's shoulder and saw Jack standing a few feet away. "That man saved you." Clara turned and met Jack's gaze for the first time. She really looked at him, at his weathered face, his calloused hands, the quiet strength in his posture. "What's your name, Jack Turner? How long have you worked here?" 3 years. 3 years. He had been invisible to her for 3 years. She felt ashamed. I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything." Reynolds walked up to her. "Mr. Turner, I need that statement now." Jack nodded and looked at Clara. "You should take her to the hospital to get checked out." "I'll take you, but first." She hesitated. "Who are you, really?" Reynolds asked. "Ma'am, this man is a legend. Special Rescue Unit. He's saved more lives than most. People have met diplomats, soldiers, civilians. If you were in danger anywhere in the world, he's the one they'd send." Clara caught her breath. "My father, Thomas Lane, was kidnapped in Manila 7 years ago. The oil tycoons were taken hostage by militants. I was told they were rescued by a special forces team." Jack's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. "You were on that team," Clara whispered. "You saved my father." Jack said nothing. Reynolds nodded. "The siege of Manila. I read the post-op report. 12 hostages, 36 militants, 0 casualties on our side. It was textbook perfect." Clara's knees buckled. She sat down on the bench, still holding Lily. "My father came home because of you. He walked me down the aisle at my wedding because of you. He met his granddaughter because of you." Her voice wavered. "And I passed you by for 3 years without even knowing your name." Jack shifted uncomfortably. "You weren't supposed to know. That's how it works. Why are you here? Why are you mopping floors when you could be? I have a daughter, Ella, and she needs a father who comes home every night, not one who might not come back at all." Clara understood perfectly. Reynolds cleared his throat. "We need to talk about tonight. The suspects got away, but we'll find them. In the meantime, Mr. Turner, you may have made yourself a target. Let them come. It doesn't work that way anymore. You're a civilian now." Jack touched the badge under his shirt. "I stopped being a civilian the moment she asked for help." Reynolds sighed. "I'll have a squad posted outside the building tonight, but you need to be careful. Discretion isn't my specialty." The captain smiled faintly. "I remember the ambulance came. The paramedics checked Clara and Lily. Minor bruises, no serious injuries." Clara pulled Jack aside. "These men worked for my ex-husband, Richard Moore. He wants control of Lantec. He's been trying to throw me out for months. What's the point of money, power, pride? Take your pick." She looked at Lily, who was being examined by a paramedic. "I filed for divorce because he was cruel. The courts are slow. He's desperate. He'll come back." "I know." Her voice was even and determined, but now, I know something he doesn't. A janitor isn't just a janitor. Jack almost smiled. Reynolds replied, Mr. Turner, we need you to come to the station. A full statement. Gather evidence. Understood? Clara grabbed his arm. Wait before you go. Thank you for my father, for me, for Lily. I can never repay you. You already have. How did you give me a job when no one else wanted it? That was enough. He turned to leave. Jack stopped. This isn't over. Richard won't stop, and I don't want you caught in the middle of my mess. Jack looked back, his eyes hard as steel. Ma'am, with all due respect, I was right there when your daughter said please. He walked out with Reynolds. Clara stood holding Lily and watched him go. Lily tugged at her sleeve. Mom, is he a superhero? Clara thought. The quiet man who mopped floors, who saved diplomats, who stopped 3 armed men without breaking a sweat. Yeah, baby, I think he's outside. Reynolds opened the patrol car door for Jack. You know this isn't going to go well, right? If her ex-husband is behind this, then he. Jack, lawyers, connections, he got in the car. Fine, I like a challenge. Reynolds shook his head and closed the door as the car drove away. Jack looked up at the Lane Tech building, at the lights still burning on the top floor. He thought of Ella, sleeping at home, waiting for him. He thought of Lily, scared and brave. He thought of the life he left behind and the life he chose. No one was left behind, not anymore. By morning, the story was widespread. A janitor saves a CEO and his daughter from armed attackers. Local news, national news, social media. A security camera photo went viral. Jack, in uniform, standing calmly as police surround him. Hours later, someone identified him. Old military records. Testimonies of the people he saved. This man pulled my brother from the collapsing embassy. He saved my unit under enemy fire. He's a hero. The 2 security guards who had taunted him saw the news in the break room, their faces turning pale. It was him, the guy we called Mop Guy. When Jack returned to work that night, the building looked different. The employees stopped him, shook his hand, and thanked him. The guards approached, their heads bowed. Mr. Turner, we owe you an apology. We had no idea what we said. Jack looked at them without anger, only tired eyes. You don't need to know who someone is to treat them with respect. They nodded sheepishly. You're right, we're very sorry. Jack continued the conversation in the courtroom. Clara sat across from Richard's lawyers. Ms. Lane, our client will drop the divorce proceedings if you step down as CEO and hand over 40% of the shares. Clara leaned forward. Your client sent 3 men to beat me in front of my daughter. Tell him I'll see him in jail first. The lawyer shifted uncomfortably. You have no evidence implicating Mr. Moore. Clara slid the folder across the table. The police have arrested all 3 men. One of them is talking. Text messages, bank transfers, voice recordings, all from Richard. The lawyers turned pale. The prosecutor is bringing charges of conspiracy, assault, and coercion. Your client is finished, she said, standing up and saying, Get out of my building. They left. 2 weeks later, Richard Moore was arrested. The board suspended him from all positions and banned him from Lane Tech premises. That evening, Clara won. She found Jack restocking the maintenance closet. Jack, he turned. Ms. Lane, Clara, please. She walked in and closed the door. I've been thinking about what you sacrificed to be here. I sacrificed nothing. You sacrificed everything. Your career, your reputation, all because you saved the wrong man. I saved the right man. The government just didn't agree. She smiled sadly. You're too good for this world. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. No, you're not. She handed him an envelope. What is this? He opened it. Inside was a new badge, his picture, a different title, Head of Security. Jack Turner. He looked up. I don't understand. This company is safest when you're protecting it, not cleaning it. I'm not qualified, and you're the most qualified person I've ever met. Jack stared at the badge. What about my daughter? Hours, day shifts, weekends, health insurance, pension, all of it. His breath caught. Why? Because Lily's alive. Because of you. Because my father met his granddaughter. Because of you. Because heroes aren't supposed to mop floors. Jack held the badge, its weight different from the weight of a mop handle, heavier and more solid. I don't know what to say. Say yes. He looked at her. This woman who had been passing him for 3 years and now saw him, really saw him. Yes. Clara smiled for the first time since the attack. She felt safe not because of cameras, guards, or lawyers, but because the quiet man who once washed her floors now stood between her daughter and the world, and nothing could get past him. No longer. A month later, Jack was in a different uniform, a black suit, tie, a Lane Tech security badge pinned to his belt. He walked purposefully around the building, checking cameras, instructing guards, ensuring that every door, every window, every entrance was secure. The employees greeted him by name with respect, not because they knew what he had done, but because he held his own. He finished work on time at 6 o'clock every night. He picked Ella up from school, helped her with her homework, made dinner. One day, she asked him, "Dad, do you miss your old job?" He mused, "I miss the people I saved, but I don't miss the person I had to work with." To save them, she hugged him. "I love it, and you do too, baby." Friday night, Claire invited Jack, Ella, and Lily to dinner at the penthouse. It was a simple meal, pasta salad, garlic bread. The girls sat together, giggling over a cartoon. Ella showed Lily how to draw horses. Lily shared her crayons. Claire and Jack sat on the couch, watching them. "They look good together," Clara said. "Lily asks about you every day, calls you her hero." Jack smiled softly. "I'm not a hero. I'm just someone who showed up. That's what heroes do. Jack, they show up when no one else will." She looked at him earnestly. "You could have left. You could have called the police and stayed downstairs. No one would have judged you." "I would have. Why did you do that?" He touched the dog tag under his shirt, the engraving he'd worn for years. "Because I made a promise a long time ago that no one would be left behind. I've broken many rules to keep that promise, lost everything because of it, but I've never regretted it." Clara's eyes sparkled. "You saved my father. You saved me. You saved my daughter. How can I do that?" "Payback for what you've already done. You gave me a second chance. You allowed me to be more than just a mistake." She reached out and took his hand. "You were never a mistake, Jack. You were always a hero. The world just wasn't ready to see it." Across the room, Lily looked up. "Mom, Mr. Jack, may Mr. Jack always be our hero?" Clara looked at Jack, tears in her eyes, a smile on her lips. "He already is, baby." Jack squeezed her hand tenderly. Outside, the city shone against the night sky. 15 stories below, people hurried home to their families, to safety, to peace. They'll never know that the janitor who once washed their floors saved more lives than they could count. They'll never know that the quiet man in the black suit was once a legend. And that was a good thing, because Jack Turner had learned something important. Real heroes don't need recognition. They only need a reason to protect, and now he had too. Subscribe if you believe real heroes never stop protecting others.